And obviously, you've got to be tapping into that consumer interest there, and the sort of experience they're looking to have. And I guess architecturally as well, that experience within a hotel can be particularly unique, especially for the type of designs that you can get. Are you seeing a lot more investment and a lot more consideration there from actual investors, hotel investors, to really going for these more unique concepts today?
Yeah, exactly. I think we do see that a lot, and that makes it almost harder to differentiate for us, right? Because I think somebody in our portfolio team who looks after was trying to acquire new members as well, said that there's a lot of cute hotels, things that are having, interesting looking, more modern design and modern furniture, but it's actually, for us, it goes a bit further. There's really supposed to be a character within the hotel that primarily is driven by the owner behind the concept and creating a very unique concept instead of just having some pretty furniture. And that's, I think, what people also feel when they book a design hotel. That's also a bit of an expectation that there's a bit more edge to it than just being pretty or modern like that from an architectural perspective.
Design hotels really need to be crafting the experience, the digital experience in that as well, that the infrastructure, the architecture, so to speak, is not just sort of like how it physically looks, but how you're digitally engaging.
Yeah, so I think we sometimes also in a strange way might be like go against the grain from that perspective, while we, I think, want to have a really great digital experience, almost, or very, not great, but a digital experience per se, prior to arrival. Then it's often, I think, almost an appetite, when do we take tech away, almost like that. And it's kind of funny, digital detox of when you take away the digital piece in the guest stay, right? So I have one example where there was a French hotel which was recreating the hotel experience of the French Riviera of the 50s, right? So of course there you maybe want to take away the text message how your stay is or when the yoga class is, and you want to rather send a postcard that the sailing trip is at 10 a.m. So it's funny to also think about is there going to be this tipping point where people are like, well, actually I just want to put my phone away and I don't want this piece in that experience like that.
We mentioned just before we came on to record that there's such vast differences in, firstly, where properties are in the tech stack of evolution, but also the type of tech partners that they could work with. What sort of consultation do you have with your hotel partners around identifying right partners and trying to build a tech stack that's going to be relevant for that particular property?
Yeah, so I've thought about that a lot, and I think I think that it does start with looking at the basic functionalities, or at least that's where my head is at the moment in the PMS piece, and how to build around that, and allowing the flexibility in there, and also reducing the cost through these open API structures that really enabled even to think about installing a CRM solution, because often previously the interface was more expensive than the actual third-party tool that you maybe want to use for a CRM solution. So definitely the PMS piece with the open API has opened up that box to even start playing with that for the smaller independent space, which was often otherwise going to be too expensive to even play.
So many systems within the hotel tech stack, from property management through to, as you say, the data that's generated through your channel manager for where the bookings are coming from, through to the CRM and your email campaigns, or from social media. There's a lot of places that you need to consolidate that data. And I guess that framework is going to be different depending on the type of hotel property, whether you're an independent hotel or a large hotel chain. Is there quite a difference between how different sized businesses manage data? Because I guess that there's huge differences in the volume that you're dealing with here as well.
Though many hotel systems have built-in analytics tools, their capabilities may be limited or restricted to solving very narrow tasks in a particular niche. And to your point, basically, for the large hotel, the situation can often be the following. They obviously use some ready-made existing solutions. However, because of the scale of the hotels and different data sources, and also aligning all that with a number of goals and objectives, there's probably no unique out of pocket, let's say, tools that can solve all this. So usually big chains, they combine something ready-made, plus they do some custom modules on top. While we're speaking about smaller hotels, usually even smaller hotels, and nowadays they use PMSs, right?
So as you say, Alex, there's so much data in a PMS. Is the PMS actually able to deliver a sophisticated analytics tool that's needed and is intuitive for all parts, all staff within the workforce that actually needs to use it? And I guess at the same time, is it able to surface the right data so you can make those commercial gains? What do you see at AltexSoft as essential when it comes to the data that you can really commercialize and making that accessible to people within the hotel so that they can see the trends, see the hotel performance, and actually make some informed decisions?
So something really more sophisticated than just, segmenting, like taking an Excel and saying, hey, I'm gonna check all the customers that came to me from France or from China, whatever. So, and definitely when it comes to like more sophisticated customer segmentation, this then could be used to tailor marketing and sales efforts for the different segment and increase the revenues, obviously. Now, second big bucket, I would say, is sales and revenue optimization itself. And usually the analytics module could help the hotel to understand which factors are driving bookings and revenues, and then identify the opportunities to optimize pricing, inventory management, and other factors to maximize the revenues. The third thing is actually the third bucket, I would say, is about marketing and I would call it campaign analysis. So the module could be used to analyze the effectiveness of marketing campaigns, identify the channels that drive the most of the bookings on volume or the most marginal bookings.
Photographs and Memories, produced by Haynes Marcoms as a Travel Market Life series. For more, visit travelmarket.life.
So what did I do? I had to take the curtains off the windows in the bathroom, wrap it around me, and walk down into the breakfast room.
And that's why I chose the picture, because we did everything you can do in London for 4 days. And when we asked them, okay, what has been your favorite picture and your favorite attraction in London? They said, for sure, visiting the statue of Peter Pan.
When I was at that time with my fiance, I often joked with him that I like to climb the highest mountain and swim in the deepest sea, and I have to do that before we consider having kids.
And I asked the architect, are we good with fire safety? Everything is under control? I said, it's Italy. Yeah, more or less. And said, okay, let's try. And at some point, like out of the blue, everything started to burn down. And this was one day before the opening.
What was meant to be a fun trip, the team was getting tired, sweaty. They were cursing me behind my back, and I could hear them saying, did we have to go in July to go to the Wadi? And out of the blue, it started raining.
Talking about some of the key issues and concerns for hoteliers itself, I mean, there's been a huge development in digitalization, particularly the guest experience. Where are your customers currently really looking for those solutions, and what are the problems are they trying to address?
You know, one of the issues that we hear all the time is, yeah, there's a lot of solutions out there, but can they seamlessly connect into all of the tech stack that we have today? And with the technology stack so fragmented across the world, and especially in Europe, across property management systems, payment gateways, having systems that can come in that are innovative, but also just plug in seamlessly to what they have currently, that's a big challenge for technology vendors. And so something that we focus on very closely is not only providing a solution, but making sure that it melds well with the existing technology is just as important. And so something that we want to help address for hoteliers, but also come and just learn more about their experiences, so that helps us kind of evolve our product roadmap as well.
I mean, there's been so much talk about digitalization and guest experience. And one of the key things, as you mentioned there, for what you're known for is cybersecurity. Do you feel that has that topic particularly has lost a priority within the industry that it still must need, particularly with the threats with so many digitalization transactions now?
I think these trends around operationalizing things like check-in, there's still the essence is still includes cybersecurity, secure collection of data, secure transfer of data. That's still pervasive throughout, and so that's it's an important aspect of these solutions.
Now, I mean, you've been operating for some time. You've expanded your product portfolio. What's the value that you particularly provide your customers? I mean, you talked about this in seamless integration there as well, and obviously you've been renowned for the security side of things. But how and where do customers recognize the effectiveness that Canary Technologies provides as a partner?
Automate as much data entry as possible and make sure that that's done well. And that really goes back into really seamless integrations. The last piece here is just around guest experience. The preferences of guests have changed dramatically, over time, especially in the last few years. And so the ability to do whatever you need to do from the comfort of your own mobile device, whether that's, again, around checking in, checking out, but if you want to enhance your stay, communicate with the hotel, being able to do so just from the palm of your hand, whether it's through a cell phone or any device that you may have on hand, that's become table stakes for a lot of guests, and that's their expectation now. And I think Skift released a report saying the average tenure of a housekeeper today is 78 days. And the cost it takes to recruit a new staff member that often is insanely costly for hotels. And so if we can extend that tenure for the staff by helping hotels provide that benefit and that perk for them and make it easy for guests, it's really a win-win scenario.
Hello, I'm Ryan Haynes, the host of Hoteliers Voice on the podcast Travel Market Life. And we've just launched our search for hoteliers who can share their stories on season 3 of Hoteliers Voice. Do you have a story to share? Have you been developing your tech stack, building out your digitalization strategies, improving the guest experience with digital tools, or just generally focusing on systems and processes internally for how the hotel operations run? We want to hear from you. Please get in contact with us either through this post or on travelmarket.life. Whether it's addressing issues with housekeeping, operations, revenue, commercial, events, MICE, hospitality, food and beverage, we want to hear, especially if there's an element of technology in it. We look forward to hearing from you.
AI is a massive topic in the industry right now. I mean, you can't turn to a magazine, a newsletter, social media without actually seeing it in a stream of some kind. So it is a tech of the moment. I'd love to know from you guys, as you're looking at the industry and seeing how they're sort of engaging with this technology, in what ways is it being deployed effectively within travel and hospitality? I mean, Nick, I know you've been particularly exploring this.
As we all know, the number one thing you're striving for is a high level of guest satisfaction. That guest experience is at the heart of everything that hotels are doing. That becomes arguably more important the further up the sort of value chain you go within the sort of star rating system, if you like. So I think that is one area we see certain sort of tasks, maybe around check-in, for example, is one, managing bookings, those kinds of things. Using AI in those regards is something we're seeing more of. I think the other element is around personalization, being able to make recommendations either for upsell opportunities on an existing stay, or perhaps for, post-stay promotions, individualized promotions after that. Say, okay, we know that from the data we've collected, analyzed, etc., this person stays in this type of room with this view.
The big conversation, Emma, that we're having at the moment is around ChatGPT. Now, what kind of use cases do you see for this generative AI, particularly within travel and hospitality? Because that's a big question on everybody's lips. I mean, it creates articles, but how can we use it within the industry right now?
Yeah, definitely. There's such a hype around it, and such a sense of urgency for everyone to really start to deploy something. And I think there are a lot of really valid use cases that I could see for the travel and tourism industry. As I said, with customer service in general. So you could get ChatGPT or another generative AI large language model and integrate that into your hotel's website or an app that would provide 24/7 customer service. So I think ChatGPT and other models are now creating these generative AI app builders, which mean that people with less technical proficiency can build different platforms than they could have before. So they could now create bots or chat apps or digital assistants using generative AI instead of needing so much technical know-how.
And what I understand about that's about it's the focus on the deployment of large language models, which you referred to, and these models which can predict like the next word in a sequence given the preceding words, and the backbone of many of the conversational AI systems. However, the experts are arguing that these models are more powerful than ever before, and they simply don't understand how they work, which is quite scary if the people behind developing them don't understand how they work. What other sort of ethics do we have to be considering, especially to make sure that that it's under control and we know what it's actually delivering for our customers and also, I guess, employees and the larger workforce?
I think it's definitely right to stop and think before implementing all this type of technology, and really knowing the dangers that come, the potential dangers that come with it, and making sure that you've explored that. So I said in my presentation, you need to think about dangers of misinformation. These models can often conflate fake news with news, fact and fiction, and then produce that at a really alarming level. You've got to think about things like data privacy.